you on your 500th detox? Do you ever ask yourself, am I going to have to do this for the rest of my life? Welcome to Hug Me, I'm Insane, and I am Perry Johnson. And today I'm going to talk about why detox alone does not work. At least it didn't for me. Detox obviously was an important part of my recovery, but unto itself, I could never string together any appreciable amount of time. And the reason is that detox alone is just the physiological aspect of my addiction. But I didn't use purely to deal with physiological pain. I was dealing with emotional pain and spiritual pain. I had complex childhood trauma, and most of it, if not all of it, unresolved. And much of that conspired to create a dialogue with myself, which in turn informed how I viewed the world. And that was not a pretty thing, let's just say. And I still wrestle with a lot of those worldviews even now. But I always talk about how the difference between short-term and long-term recovery is that in long-term recovery, we realize that our crazy thinking isn't going away, but we now have tools and we've become better at them, using them, that put us in choice whether or not to buy into that insane thinking that then informs the obsessive mindset. And the obsessive mindset is what triggers the compulsive behavior, including the decision to call the dealer or go to the bar or the liquor store or whatever. And so the challenge for me became not in the detox. The detox unto itself was the easy part, despite the fact that my last detox lasted fucking forever, and I will never forget it as long as I live. But even that, in the fading distance of my past, is losing its power just by itself in terms of what is keeping me clean. The things that are keeping me clean today are the fact that I have a much better relationship with Perry Johnson. And that in turn means that I have a much better relationship with the world, including with you and with everybody else that I come across. And so I no longer have this acrimonious, constant fight or flight situation going on. And when I was stuck in the revolving door of coming in and out of detox centers, the one in particular, I was in and out of there. I was like a gold card carrying member of that place. Perry, we have your bed ready. And it's just like, and then I would, a couple of weeks, few months would go by and boom, I would be back. And luckily for me, I made it back. My last kick at the can in terms of going to detox was actually a treatment center, because I needed to press the pause button on my life and really take a step back and distance myself from a lot of the patterns that I was stuck in not only in my day-to-day and who I was interacting with and the decision-making that was going on in my life that had brought me to where I was up until that moment, but also in terms of, as I mentioned before, a lot of the dialogue that Perry was having with Perry. And those are the things today that are keeping me on the straight and narrow. And I think that, working in this field and working with people who are struggling, what I always tell people is addiction was bigger than me and it's bigger than you. We need a lot of support around getting sober. It's not just a matter of abstaining. That's the first step. It's an important step, Harm reduction can be a very important step and is a very vital part of the recovery community. And coming from an abstinence-based model, I've learned to embrace harm reduction in a much more inclusive way and really understand the benefit of it, because we can't get people into recovery if they don't survive. And so keeping them safe while they're using is an important step in that. That being said, I think the goal needs to be abstinence, simply because addiction, by my definition, is the absence of a spiritual connection and an absence of a connection to ourselves emotionally and an absence of a connection to ourselves mentally and physically and socially. It numbs on all levels. It disconnects us on all levels. And healing that is not simply a matter of walking into detox and walking out again with a few days of not using under your belt. It just was never enough for me. And from what I see and from what I've learned, it's not enough for most of us. And so I would really encourage you, if you find yourself stuck in some patterns, of asking the question, not, how can I make my detox stick, or what is a better detox? That's not the right question. The right question to ask is, why do I need to keep detoxing? Why do I always find myself here? I can't give anybody a magic formula in terms of what kind of support you may or may not need in conjunction with detoxing. I think it is important, however, to find a tribe of people who have been where you've been and are doing things regularly, taking regular action that results in having the kind of life that you want. And for me, I just went with the biggest tribe I could find, and that was 12-step. And I still will attend 12-step meetings, not just AA or NA or SLAA, but any 12-step meeting. I'll go in and I'll get a message of recovery, because for me, it's not about what brought me in the door. It's about what's going to keep me out of detox. And I see it today as a gift. It's brought me to an understanding of the most important aspect of my life, and that is understanding myself. And I'm starting to get a better handle on who Perry is. And more importantly, I really like myself today. And I spent most of my adult life not being able to say that. All right, that's probably enough. Thanks for listening.